Well, our moms think we're funny.
The only book I'll say that you look from beginning to end where you can't say that anything's changed, but it was already good to begin with.
Bone?
Yep.
Yeah, Bone.
Because he was an animator.
Oh, yeah.
The dude was from the beginning to end solid.
Yeah,
I think there was only one issue where I thought something was a little off. It was either first or second issue where they introduced Thorn.
Yeah,
and there was this weird thing where she was in the taking a bath or going to the bathroom. Yeah. I couldn't tell, and it was very weird. It's like the first time he met her, and you're like,
who can't tell if she's taking a bath or going to the bathroom? That's a weird panel.
And that's what I'm saying. But after that, I can't say there's one thing wrong about that book. Even the lettering, was consistent. You can't say that about anything, man.
Wait. Maybe she's doing both. So she had peeing in the shower.
That's what I'm saying. It was a stream. As long as it's downstream, we're okay.
Part of the Marines, you know. It's like, I pee on my feet to eradicate the smell and the bacteria. But no, Colleen Doran once said that Jeff Smith was born fully formed out of a rock or out of the head of a god or something like that. That he just came onto the scene a perfect artist and stayed a perfect artist all the way through.
They were rock stars, man. When they were doing that, that dream. You remember they had the big display with the tree?
Yeah.
They were rock stars, man. There was people, they couldn't grab the money from people's hands fast enough because it was crowds of people.
And I've told Turk about that. Dave Sim would rent limos for them to just roll up to the cons in friggin' limos and they would all come out wearing tuxes. It's we're gonna present ourselves as these fucking celebrities, and people bought it.
90s fame, man. I mean, that you were...
It was a good time.
That was one of my first cons, and it made me fan from it. Actually, because of meeting Jeff Smith, made me a fan of his for life, because my first con was 94 Heroes Con.
Oh, really?
And,
nice.
It was a much smaller con then, much smaller venue. You could walk up to Alex Ross, Mark Waid on Marvels, Joe Quesada, Jimmy Palmiotti. Dude, you could get anybody's signature. You could just walk up. I mean, there was maybe a little bit of a line, don't get me wrong, but it was but Jeff Smith, he was there. He was probably on issue 10 or 11.
Wow.
And but he still had first prints of 6.
Wow.
So I bought second, third prints of some of the early books. But from that moment on, once the book came out, every month, till the end, I bought that book. And he was harder and harder to get to each year because he'd always do a sketch for me. First he did the dragon, then he did Ted, then he was going to draw. Then he did Ahab. One of the phony bones, and then I was going to get them all together in a thing, but I couldn't get to him anymore. But he was always consistently very kind, nice, free with his time, and me and my buddy, we drove over there together, and we saw him across the street. We're like, Jeff. And he's like, hey. He's kind of like Ernie Hudson. And we were just giggled like little girls and thought we were stupid.
Oh my God, it's Jeff. He's looking this way.
We talked to him. He's there. He's a person.
But no, all right. So anyway, I still have not talked about my person yet.
And I've still got one I've got to do. So.
Yours is awesome though.
Well, I've got one besides him though.
Oh my goodness!
You need to say who you're going to though. You need to at least say it.
So let me get to mine here. All right, and like I said, mine is very, very special. There was another artist that I almost thought about talking about because I really hated their work when I first saw them, and I actually did a review once and I trashed their work. But it really wasn't bad. Story. I was just being a dick, honestly. I mean, at the time I didn't care for it, but really I was just being a dick. Work really wasn't that bad. But the person that I want to talk about here is I got to find their name again now because is Duncan Rouleau.
See, I wasn't even familiar with this guy.
Yeah. So. Again, I'm gonna say what I'm gonna say.
It's the guy you showed me the work of, right?
Yeah. So here's here's that Alpha Flight cover he did.
Oh yes.
So this is Alpha Flight number 15 from I don't know, back in the 2000s or whatever. Written by Steven Seagal, right? Not Steven Seagal.
Oh.
And this is Guardian and Vindicator and Puck and two other people I don't know fighting some purple creatures, and I don't know, but it's just the faces on these people, the huge, like we talked last night about one of your characters, Crawler, and the big jaw and stuff. But these guys have these like weird, oversized jaws that are not part of like the drawing style for them. They're just like misshapen and like look at the nose on Puck. I mean,
The nose is awful.
And he draws people with these huge noses like that. Oh, they're insane.
It looks like...
Look how far back his mouth goes. Like how it's like he's got this huge like Julia Roberts mouth. It's like his jaw and his like he's Canadian. Well, he is Canadian, so never mind. I just proved the point right there.
Your close up of the shot though, like you get rid of that. I mean, look at that hand. That's not too bad. It's the faces that kind of mess up everything.
Look how flat that hand is. It's like
it's got a
It's pretty rough. Yeah.
Look at that. The Elvis-looking guy with the misshapen maple leaf on his shoulder.
What is that? I don't even know. They have all the outfits matching
Wind shear
or something?
or whatever. I don't know. And then, okay, look at Heather Hudson's hair.
That's like a big... Yeah, that is weird.
Yeah, look at that forearm,
Look at...
man.
Good God, that's like two... Yeah, that's...
Cripes, I haven't had a forearm that looks like that since I discovered masturbation. I mean,
oh, Lord.
Oh, man. Yeah, that's oof. But it did make you a better artist, though, because you just don't get nearly as tired as quickly. Okay, so look at this one here. It's X-Men
as long as I'm doing
Annual,
those vertical range strokes, man.
X-Men Annual 97. Okay, so look at that Cyclops face, man.
Yeah, that's not good.
And look, he's got that. What's supposed to be, I guess, like a glare or whatever in the center of the visor, but instead it looks like a black hole. It's slowly like sucking his face in from like the center of his forehead.
You can tell that face is referenced almost from like Casade's run on X-Force.
Yeah, the Havoc.
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
bad. Okay, look at that Dark Beast.
Whoa.
That's Transportation. It's like he was taking his favorite artists and like trying to... Like
He's swiping,
Maduera. It's all over the place, man. That's Jim Lee.
Yep.
Like so every one of these was referenced from other things that he'd seen.
Yeah,
look at that. That's Maduera, man. Trying to be, but it's all misproportioned. Yeah, it's bad.
Well, okay, look at that Dark Beast. He actually doesn't have a jaw. Like, his bottom jaw disappears into nothing.
Into his chest.
And his mouth just goes way too far back.
I see it.
And that pose is all fucked up.
Yeah, that's...
You're right. I'll admit. I never seen this guy's stuff before. This when I was out of
I'd
it.
never heard of him until you brought him up, but I mean, that's some rough shit, man.
All right, so here's one. It's a Juggernaut one-shot from... Shit, what is this? I don't know, something from the 90s too, right?
Well, he's taken from McFarlane's with the teeth.
But look at the mask.
It's interesting that you're both really focusing on like 90s artists. Oh wow. Oh god.
You know, I say I get it. It's not good, but it's got character. I'll at least give him that. It's not Juggernaut, but it's all right. I'm not gonna buy it, but it was all right.
All right, so this is one where he did it's Superman. This is his Bizarro.
It ain't no Sam Keefe. I'll give him that.
Okay.
No.
Look at that. Look at that Bizarro face, right?
Oh. With
that big ass donut in his chin. What the fuck is that?
That doesn't look like.
That doesn't look like Bizarro at all. If you hadn't told. Adrian.
It looks like Bernanke.
Hey,
like
Tom.
I gotta look that up.
I mean, it's bad.
That's
okay?
really, that is like ultra suck right there.
I don't care for Duncan Rouleau, right? So here's the Titans that he did, right? And it's better than some of the other stuff, but even that I'm not feeling. And that Nightwing in the background is all wrong.
Oh yeah, well.
Okay.
It doesn't even look like the same artist. It almost
yeah.
looks like Jay Lee, like he's trying to copy Jay Lee there.
It's a lot less stylized, but he's definitely like phoning it in on the poses.
Yeah, so I mean, it's just like I don't care for Duncan. I've never cared for his work. I do not like him. And it's and
I'm sure most of these folks are like really genuinely nice people.
I believe he really is. And again, being nice and it really has nothing to do with your art. There's some nice people that really their work really sucks. There's some people that are incredible artists.
They're terrible. They don't have to be nice.
Like EWS. Right? Yeah. So so
beautiful artist, and he's just a piece of shit.
Exactly. So
sometimes it rains and sometimes it snows.
Right. So it's just like, hey.
To be honest, I'll say this about Barry Windsor Smith. I know everybody dotes all over him and says he's so great. Every time he filled in for those X-Men, like that Forge Storm issue, I hate that shit. I hate the way he draws Storm. Yeah, She's ugly in that book.
I've never looked at his work outside of the Conan books.
Really, and Conan,
he's good at Conan.
No, Conan's good. I'll give him Conan, but it took him a while to get to be that guy, though.
Yeah,
you look at the early Conan compared to what it became. He wasn't so good at first.
He used to just be a Jack Kirby imitator.
Yeah.
Which is fine, but, like, you're not Jack Kirby, so...
No, and then he became what he became, but I don't like his colors either. Because he colored his own stuff in those books.
I never knew that.
And they're weird,
that
weird colors.
All right, so I don't like Duncan Rouleau, right? Again, he could be a really nice guy, and I think I saw some of him. He appeared to be a really nice guy. I don't like his art at all, right?
Yeah.
I can't say I've ever seen a piece of his that I liked. That I can even just say that's not a bad piece. I don't really like it, but it's not bad, right?
It's like it's consistently like off the whole way through.
Now, here's the thing about
It's not like he's hit or miss.
Right. Here's the thing about Duncan Rouleau, okay? He could give two shits about whether I like him or not.
Well, all these people probably do not care. I mean, you just got an opinion.
No. This is the special. He could give a shit about whether I like him or not, right? So, Duncan Rouleau, and you guys have never heard of him before I mentioned him and showed you his art, right?
Yeah. I'd seen that Juggernaut picture, but I didn't know who did it.
Duncan Rouleau is, and I knew this already, but I'm pulling this from Wikipedia, is an American comic book artist, writer, and artist, and is a part of the Man of Action Studios collective of creators Joe Casey, Joe Kelly, Stephen T. Siegel, who created Ben 10.
Oh, yeah. Is that where he's doing
So
it?
he could give two shits about whether or not I like his work, because he's fucking swimming in money.
Sure.
Yeah.
And he can say, you don't like my work, but my work created Ben 10, and which I used to like the original Ben 10, not this like little 10-minute bullshit that they have on Cartoon Network now, but the original one, I like that. Generator X, love Generator X. That was a great show. And the monsters that they had in there, the kind of like body horror mutated things, that was all probably based off his designs, right? And I like that show. So he's like, you cannot like my art, but fuck you, I'm swimming in money. And my art is what created those two characters, which are keeping me and my family fed. So, you know what, Turk? You can kiss my ass.
Yeah.
So in the
Well, I'm
end,
sure all the
like,
artists would be like that to a certain degree because they're successful. And it's like, and that's just going to show. It's just like movies. They, they've got people, and they've got artists that they like or don't like. They feel the same way. Everybody, when it's you, it hurts a little bit, but like, it's just one person's opinion. We're just one.
Right, but I'm saying it's like, I say all this about him and everything. It's like, but obviously he's doing something and has done something right to get to where he is. And the thing is, I can't stand Steven Seagal either, or Steven Seagal, whatever. As far as a writer, I've never liked any of his stuff. Nothing he's ever done has ever appealed to me. Joe Kelly I like. Joe Casey I like.
Yeah.
But
Kelly's good.
Seagal I've never cared for. But again, it's like these guys are like, hey, we can write checks all day long. And I'm not just talking about money. I'm just talking about, like, if I want to work on a project, I've got an outlet that I can go ahead and say, I want to work on this project and get to it.
But then you also get guys like Logan Paul or Rice Scum from the YouTube communities who are like, well, I don't care if you don't like me because I'm successful, so it can be that kind of thing. So it's like, that doesn't necessarily justify you being a prick either. But, that said, I was
going to say, but to them, with the difference with those two guys is those guys don't have any talent, right?
Yeah, that's
He
true.
at least has something, whether I care for his talent or like it or not.
Yeah.
Right? Those guys are like, I have a personality.
Right.
Which you don't. The lack of a personality is not a personality. It's like saying the lack of color is a color itself.
Yeah, it's like, I have character flaws,
right.
basically.
This guy actually has talent,
Yeah.
but it's not one that I perceive as being good.
Yeah. So it's like, there's something there even if you or I don't necessarily see it.
Right.
So that said, I hope that the artists I talk about today really take this to heart and just phone it in and give up. So...
Wow. Ron Lim, don't listen to him.
No.
We love you.
Ron Lim, I reneged on and said that I actually really like his good stuff. I just don't like his bad stuff.
Wait. You reneged on him?
Well, just on his Marvel stuff.
Just on his Sonic stuff. His Sonic stuff is bad.
You're a goddamn
Oh.
Fucking hell, man. Now I gotta censor that out.
Oh, you can say it. You can say it. Oh, but if he says it... Oh, Lord.
I was afraid that's where you were going with it. It's like, oh, man, I'm gonna have to edit the Audacity file.
Wall caller one out.
So, I'm not going to touch super long on this. I've talked a little bit about it off the podcast, and apparently you guys don't necessarily agree with me on this guy. So I'm not going to spend as much time focused on him as I am my next guy, but Jim Davis, I don't care for. And I'll elaborate. For those who are listening to this and don't know, Jim Davis is the creator of the extremely famous comic strip Garfield. And I'm sure a lot of people who are reading Garfield as it shows up in the newspaper now are going to say, yeah, but the character design's really appealing. What do you not like about it? Well, Jim Davis doesn't draw those. He hasn't drawn the comic for a pretty long time. I think he stopped drawing it himself in the late 80s, early 90s, something like that.
And that was after he broke his foot and could no longer hold a brush, right?
Right. Yeah. Well, it's because, so here's the thing. I guess I should probably start, like, kind of chronologically from the beginning here.
Okay.
Jim Davis is not an artist. He's not an illustrator. He did not go to school for art, illustration, design, painting, comics, any of that. Jim Davis went to school for marketing. He has a degree in marketing. He can market like there's no fucking tomorrow. And when he designed Garfield and created the strip, he was like, I'm going to do something that I can market and sell like crazy. So it's like, here's this character with an iconic color, with an iconic look, who has all these catchphrases and shit that we can market super easily.
But I will say this, going to what you were just saying, the original design for Garfield
wasn't that good.
Absolutely horrible.
It wasn't
And
that
that's
good.
what I'm going to pull up.
Yeah.
Some of these 1970s strips, because that's the shit that Jim Davis drew.
Yeah.
And it looks atrocious.
Yeah.
The appealing Garfield with, like, the three heads character proportions and the big eyes and, like, the really sleek, smooth brush inks, that's not Jim Davis. What Jim Davis does now is he markets shit like crazy, and he will do, like, rough stick figure layouts for his artists to go over. So he still comes up with the joke with a writing team, but
Joke.
the joke, if you can call it that.
Jim didn't show up again today.
But yeah, I mean, like, that's the thing. It's like, when Jim Davis went into this, it was like, he hates Mondays. He's lazy. He's sarcastic. He likes lasagna. It's all this, like, iconic stuff.
I like lasagna. So.
Oh, lasagna's delicious. I like buy pre-frozen lasagnas all the time.
Stouffer's.
Oh yeah, Stouffer's is the shit. So I mean, I'm just gonna let you guys look through some of these old 70s strips here.
Dude, I had them. I have the collection. I bought Garfield all through when I was in high school. I really liked Garfield, man.
yeah. So, like, you guys have seen this stuff.
Yeah.
And, like, the posing isn't very dynamic. The humans just look like ass. I've never, even as a child reading these strips, I've never understood the way he does noses. Because it's like there's a tiny little horizontal line and then just an upper lip.
I think that these original Garfields are the ones that Lisa Kudrow was singing about on Friends, the smelly cat, and she was basing it off of that.
Oh yeah, that's the next artist I'm going to talk about, so we'll get into that. But yeah, so I mean, that's the thing, is like, oh, Garfield is this, like, international thing. It's been around for...
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, it's cool.
No, I was just going to say, like, just looking at his early stuff, it almost reminds me of the transition from The Simpsons, from the Tracy Ullman show,
Right.
to when it became... So it's like, you got to give him credit for coming up with the idea and becoming what it became, though. It's almost like, because, you know, Matt Groening didn't... The thing we see as Homer isn't what he came up with either, and so or Bart.
And And, like, yeah, like I said, from a marketing standpoint, it's a really good idea. It clearly works.
Sure.
Garfield's still around 40 years later, or whatever it is, and he's still selling books, still selling T-shirts and little suction cup stuffed toys.
It's
and all
terrible.
That.
I think if they ever stopped making Garfield, all the Hallmark stores would close.
Probably so.
You know, I was going to say, man, the one guy, just talking about orange cats, you know the orange cat that you want to see.
Oh, Heathcliff.
Hobbes.
Oh, Hobbes, right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Calvin, is it Hobbes? I thought it was Hobbes. Like, I always said Hobbes. But Calvin, man.
Calvin Hobbes is a beautiful show.
That guy did not market at all. All his money is straight up art and selling books.
Oh, yeah.
He didn't need to do the other stuff.
Well, he fought it tooth and nail because his agency wanted to.
Yeah.
They pushed hard, and he was
I know.
like, I don't care if I never show up in another strip. I'm not going to be commercial like that.
He did it the Gary Larson route, too, because he was like, 10 years and done.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to have to do it anymore.
Yeah.
Respect that.
I love absolutely everything about Calvin and Hobbes and about Bill Watterson.
I can't believe you brought up fucking Heathcliff, man. Oh my
Heathcliff
God.
is bad, too. But...
God, that was a biggest piece of shit.
But, like, Garfield was a huge piece of my childhood, and Heathcliff wasn't. So... But, like, and, I mean, I could bitch about the writing, but really we're not talking so much about the writing, but, I mean, just like this one strip I'm showing you guys, Garfield slaps a burger off of a plate, he jumps up and attacks the burger, and John says, "Don't be cruel, Garfield, put the cat burger out of its misery and eat it." What's the gag? I don't get the joke there.
No, I admit it's kind of, like, I even admit looking back on it, but I'll tell you this, man, like, having a son... He watches some of the Netflix Garfield stuff, and he's watched some of the newer versions of them because he's gotten into it off and on. and some of it's not bad. I mean, like it's watchable stuff. I've seen worse cartoons on the air than what they've done with this character. I don't agree necessarily about like I agree with the aspect that he takes credit for something he's not doing. I think that's kind of, you just can't put your name on. Give it dual credit.
Yeah.
Say written by Jim Davis, concept by Jim Davis. But give your artist the guy, because I saw that guy.
Oh, calm down, Stanley.
In all capital letters.
The guy that drew it for him. He came up with his own strip. It was like a grandma type strip. I saw him. He does everything on a Wacom tablet.
Oh, nice.
It's like I can't remember his name. I've seen him. He's got like a beard and glasses. Well, comic artist, but like he did his own strip for a while and it didn't take off. But Garfield paid the bills.
Yeah.
He'd rather do his own strip, but he's doing that. So he's working, but I'm sure he'd rather be doing his own thing.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks to me that I don't even know the guy's name.
Me too, yeah.
And it's like, no, the guy who's actually drawing the strip, I think he's talented. I think that I think the modern day Garfield designs have appeal, but it's not Jim Davis.
No, I agree with that. I'll give you that.
So, I was gonna say, you were talking about the cartoons and everything. I remember watching like the different Garfield Christmas specials and stuff like that. And those I think are funny. But the thing is, they don't center around Garfield.
Yeah.
And there's other characters in there to kind of help that. And I used to watch U.S. Acres, which is created by Jim Davis.
That was funny.
I
really
love
good.
U.S. Acres.
That's
that was
funny.
great. I actually have one. That's the only like collected book I have is U.S. Acres.
No, that was good.
Those were a lot of fun.
But did he draw that? Because that looks like the more like somebody else would have drawn it beside him compared to his early stuff.
Yeah, I don't feel like he did. I could be wrong, but I'd be very, very surprised if he actually drew that.
I remember there was the only thing I could really say I liked about Garfield is there was a
the way he kicks Odie off the table. It's just so funny.
No, it was
every week.
It was a comic strip where he told Odie to like leave him alone, and before he was gonna like knock him in the next week.
Oh yeah.
And it was like let's say for example it came out on like a Tuesday, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember when it did. And Odie was still like bothering him, and he smacked him and like knocked him in the air and off the panel.
Yeah.
And then the following week, Odie comes flying in from off panel and like knocks him out.
Oh yeah.
And it was like he knocked him in next week. That was a funny gag.
That was clever. And like every once in a while Jim Davis would do stuff like that was really good. Like he did a series of Sunday strips for a while where Garfield just like goes into a room and John and Odie are gone, and so for like 2 or 3 weeks it's just Garfield like basically trapped in the Twilight Zone and trying to figure out what's going on. And it's actually like kind of a heavy story, and then he just ends it, and it's not even a joke. It's just like, we're just gonna do this creepy what if thing.
I know it's stupid, but like I always kind of liked it when he shipped Normal to Abu Dhabi too.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was kind of funny.
I always thought Normal was like when I watched the cartoons, I always thought Normal was a female cat.
Yeah, the voice.
I was like, well, it's not even like a cute male voice. It didn't really fit. I always thought Normal, and Garfield's girlfriend is really pretty ugly.
Oh, Arlene, gosh.
I mean, she's
lips.
She's a straight up
buck
bitch.
teeth.
She is so much a fucking like catnip grubber, you know.
And talking about marketing, we're having a whole conversation of stuff we probably haven't even paid attention to for 20 years. You know,
It's
like I mean, except for I've seen it recently,
works.
But
it clearly works.
You're an icon. You're an icon.
Right, you're an icon. So it's not. I can't avoid not. Well, I can avoid not talking about it, but you're there. So it's not like I'm really promoting you in any way. You're already there.
Mm-hmm.
So I find it funny that like you guys have been talking about like Marvel and Image and DC guys, and it's like I'm going to talk about Jim Davis, famous newspaper.
No, but you know what? I'll say this though.
We can attack Bill Keane if you want.
Fuck Bill Keane.
My early beginnings of like comic strip and comic books kind of overlapped to a certain degree because that's where they started.
Yeah.
The comics started as a collection of comic strips. You know, it's like so like that's the whole thing. It's like I've loved reading comic strips for a long time, early stuff, and one of my biggest one was it's talking about unfavorite artists, favorite artists. Berkeley Breathe, man.
Oh yeah,
Bloom County, man. Forget
great.
about it. It's beautiful stuff,
I never
man.
read Bloom County.
Really, it was so.
I never read it, but I looked at his work all the time.
It's hard to read now because the one thing that dates it, it's all current events.
It's all politics.
And so it's like, it doesn't stand up with the times, but the work.
But so is Pogo by Walt Kelly, and it still holds up.
Yeah.
It's all about, like, there's so many, like, arcs about the space race and stuff, and, like, they have it out with, like, Russian SEALs who are trying to get to the moon and stuff.
But Little Nemo and Slumberland,
that's beautiful.
And, yeah, it's all that stuff, man. It's like Terry and the Pirates. some of that early stuff, man, big influences like
Milt Kaine, if he did Harry and the Pirates.
Yeah, he was a genius. The Hildebrandt brothers took over for a while for his stuff.
Greg and Tim?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like for like the regular series for a while. It's
What
been a
about-
while ago, but like
Well, you know my favorite from the comic strips, right?
what's that?
Farsight?
Mary Worth.
Oh, Mary Worth.
Oh, stop it.
I love that arc where she convinced her friend to commit suicide.
Yeah. It's worth a lot of money, you know.
Excuse me. Stop banging your head against the counter. It contains a very rare Mary Worth, where she advances a friend to commit suicide.
And Winsor McKay, man, if you look at his
Oh, God,
Little
I love
Nemo's
Winsor McKay.
Slumberland, I mean, that stuff. Like it's the Rarebit Fiend, and I'm sorry, I'm just going. I really appreciate early comic art, and I gotta say, that will always have Garfield will always have, just because early on, I really liked it. I mean, it's like I at the time, but it was at that time. I admit now it's not so much.
Well, it's the nostalgia thing. It's it brings you a feeling of joy because it was a huge part of your childhood.
I still have
me.
a Garfield doll.
Yeah,
you know, from when I was a kid.
So
know?
I mean, I'd still read them.
Yeah.
The interesting thing about Garfield is I stopped reading Garfield before I stopped liking Garfield. So there's still the strips that I remember, even though the only one I can really remember is that one.
It's the Next Tuesday one,
right?
Yeah.
But I still remember like it, and I was like, nah, I don't hate it, but I don't really like it. And then the early stuff is just that character design is just it's ugly.
So
it's so
appealing.
ugly. As opposed to Family Circus that I read until I just hated. You know,
Family Circus is one of those things like I don't want to read it, but it's always right there.
Yeah,
it pisses me off.
And it's so quick.
It's so
quick. It's that little circle, and then it's that really bad like. It's not even a dad-uncle joke. It's like a great-great-grandfather joke.
Barely even that. I don't think you can really call them jokes.
See, I like Hagar the Horrible, man.
Hagar the Horrible has some good moments.
And I liked what's the other one? The one I didn't like that was drawn beautifully, Prince Valiant, man. That thing looked beautiful, but I couldn't read it, man.
I never read it, but that art is so friggin' gorgeous.
Insane.
He's not the best photorealistic artist I've seen from newspapers, but he's really good.
Okay, so
I like Dick Tracy and Chester Gould too.
Oh yeah, Chester Gould's beautiful.
I love Kathy. Kathy Guy's White. That's amazing.
Fuck off. Ack. Fuck right off with that. With your stupid damn invisible nose.
Oh, guy, I mean, yeah, I get it. It's bikini season. You're not ready, right?
I'm depressed from looking on the scale. Yeah, no, definitely not.
You remember the Seinfeld episode with Ziggy, where Elaine comes up with the thing for the New Yorker,
and
Ziggy's like, "Look, the New Yorker's stealing my jokes."
And it's got Ziggy.
That was
when the '60s were over, then it was like, hey,
Ziggy.
Yeah, like, this is still around?
So, I'm going to talk about my last artist here, and I've bitched about this particular book before on the Korova Game Bar. And really, I just want to talk about the artist a little bit specifically, and it's actually a manga artist. So, anybody who's been on the channel for a while knows I'm not a super huge fan of manga. I have a few that I do enjoy, but typically I think that manga tends to make young artists develop some bad habits that they refuse to grow out of. I'm not going to elaborate on that too much, but I'm just going to talk about this artist in particular because I thought it would be a cop-out to go, manga art, whoa! And I wanted to talk specifically about one artist, and that would be Masayuki Taguchi. Because I don't take it you guys really read a lot of manga. I don't read a ton myself. No. So Masayuki Taguchi happens to be the artist of the manga adaptation of none other than Battle Royale.
Oh.
So, as I've explained, Battle Royale, love the book, love the film. I was like, I'm going to read the manga. And here's the thing, if you go online, people talk about this manga like it is the gold standard of good manga, and they're like, this is the best manga art, so I'm like, I'm going to read it. So I'm gonna kind of go over my impressions of this guy and see if you guys kind of agree with me. First of all, he tends to try to do a lot of detail, but he does it to the point where his humans look uncanny valley. They look plastic. I look at this world and I see plastic humans. It's very unsettling to me because there's no stylization. It's just I'm just going to pile detail onto this no matter how bad it looks. A few things he has that I would just deem as bad habits, not necessarily bad art, but just bad habits that make the work look gross, is that every fluid that he draws, every human bodily fluid that he draws on here, just looks viscous and completely opaque. Whether it's blood, snot, tears, mucus, whatever, it just looks opaque and viscous and disgusting to me. So, as I'm looking at these characters and I'm reading this manga, what I see is this world where the characters look like they would all be moist. Like, I feel like if I reached out and touched one of these characters on the face, it would just be like... It just looks gross. Gross as hell.
So I'm looking at this one here where it looks like a girl's getting shot in the face.
Yeah.
And I can't tell if, from the look of it, if the bullet is hitting her... So
coming through the one side or the other.
Right. It looks like her brains are being blown out, which would make me think that the bullet is coming from the front.
From the front, yeah.
But her teeth are flying forward, which would make me think the bullet is coming from the back. And plus, the blood and everything is being splattering out from the front. Now, if you get shot, it's going to be a splatter. But this is one thing that I always hate when you're looking at, when you're doing with anything, when there's blood, like splatter and stuff, is that if you get hit or shot or stabbed or whatever, it doesn't always mean you're going to bleed or that you're going to have like blood just like gushing out. If you don't hit an artery, it's not going to be a gushing of blood, you know? Because it's that pumping of the heart which shoots the blood out. Yeah. You know, it's just like when someone cuts their wrist, right? The blood trickles out. It doesn't spurt out, right? So if you get, if I got like shot in the nose, let's say, right? Blood is not going to go gushing out of my nose. There's like veins and stuff there, but there's nothing that's going to spurt it out like that.
Yeah,
I mean, if you get a nosebleed, it doesn't come like streaming out of your nose like milk, right?
Unless you're a manga character and you see a pretty girl.
It seems like he's got a thing with noses, because here, this one too, this guy's getting his nose cut.
He's got a lot of things.
I'll say this. I don't think he's a bad artist, but the thing is he might be a little confused because it looks like an Americanized version of manga. It looks like an American trying to draw manga.
Yeah, it does.
And like it's almost like he's influenced by Americans somewhat, and it's like maybe that's why he's popular, because people over there kind of like dig the fact that he looks kind of like more like our guys. Maybe so. It stands out.
You know who did the localization for the English version of that?
Who?
Keith Giffen.
Oh, I can see that.
Which shocks the hell out of me, because I love Keith Giffen.
He just did the translation, though, right?
He basically took the translation and was like, I'm gonna like jazz this up into
and
like speakable English, basically.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, he just basically localized it is the thing there. But
oh, sorry.
So and I didn't do I can't remember the characters' names, which is horrible. But I mean, they're all Japanese names, so.
Right.
But
Shuya.
Shuya Shogo. But I'm thinking of the girl who used the sickle.
Okay.
Was it
I do. It's
Miyumi? I think it was Miyumi.
Okay.
I believe her name was Miyumi. If anybody's a fan and knows the character's name, please don't get mad at me, because I just don't remember. It's been a long time since I've read this. But Miyumi, she's basically the school slut. She works as a prostitute on the side. You know all. You know this character. Okay. The way he draws her is certainly not as a 15-year-old girl. She is not drawn or depicted as a 15-year-old girl in this story at all. She looks more like a 21-year-old super slut, and it's like it's way too iffy and way too pornographic for.
Is this from Battle Royale? Or is that a different book?
Yeah, that's Battle Royale. That's a female character, by the way.
She looks like a fucking old midget,
doesn't she?
I'm sorry, little person.
Hey guys,
just like the bat poking kitty. Boys just love to poke. I don't remember that in the book.
Hey man, I know you're just gonna say goodbye, but like I probably by like 3 minutes here, I gotta head out. So I just want to say one more thing. I don't want to, and I'll listen to the rest of this when we get it up in there.
Definitely.
But like there's a guy that I like. He's he is, I guess he's my favorite artist without a doubt. Like and it took a long time to get there, and other people hate him. He's actually the first guy where like a mainstream title, he got pulled off of it because they call his style perverse. Kevin O'Neill.
I love Kevin O'Neill.
Oh yeah,
Kevin O'Neill. If you look at his black and white stuff, that dude's a damn genius. And like people don't like him. He's not necessarily mainstream style, but like I know people really despise his work. But that's just there you go, just taste. Me personally, I buy his like art editions. I mean like he's a genius, man. He's old school English line work is just it's impeccable, and he does it all.
Yeah,
like I mean, he does it from beginning to end, and it's perfect.
I'm gonna say this.
Got some really nice stuff. Yeah,
I'm gonna say this. I do see traces of McKeever's style
I can't.
and Kevin O'Neill.
Yeah, especially when he draws the big guys, and I can too. But it's not done as well as him. You got to give him that too. Like, of course. I mean, like, it's just taste, but like his is disproportionate. McKeever's, it's something always off. Whereas like when Kevin O'Neill does it, he's not as thick a heavy line. I think McKeever's relying on brushes, and maybe I might be wrong about this. Maybe Kevin O'Neill, but it looks more like he's pen guy.
Yeah, he definitely is.
Yeah. So it's just taste.
Yeah,
but I appreciate it, guys, and I'm sorry to run, but like I'm already over time, and they're texting me and stuff. So
we kept you for like an hour and a half over what you were supposed to be.
But it was fun, and
sorry about that.
And hopefully we can do it again. And
absolutely, thanks for being on the show, man.
So as you're leaving, I'm just going to go ahead and toss up some parting words here, which is Acomi and I have talked about. Well, Acomi has talked about doing a couple of podcasts and I think videos about your comic books and things that influenced you and stuff like that, and and Crawler and I were actually talking about doing a similar thing too, but not in the same vein because we're more of the mainstream kind of artist guys,
right?
And you hope in the future you'd be able to kind of check out a thing with Crawler and I talking about some of our favorite books that we grew up reading, and so we're gonna kind of just pick different stories and books that we read growing up that really kind of pulled us into comic books and also kind of held us there as being that genre that we loved.
Right.
So you look forward to seeing a little bit more of him.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it was really good having him on the show. Kind of feel bad that we kept him for so long, but yeah. So I mean, really, if I had to pick one manga artist that I just find completely and entirely unappealing in every capacity, it would be Masayuki. So I mean, and there's a lot I could bitch about with the Battle Royale adaptation, and I've talked a lot about it on the Kurova Game Bar itself, but I mean, like, I do not feel like that adaptation does justice to the book or to the movie. I think the characters are all grossly out of character. I think the character designs look extremely different from what the author's original intent was in the book. And I mean, really, even just like holding it up side by side with the films, it is clearly really different. So I could go on about that for a really, really long time, but I don't necessarily want to beat a dead horse. But the fact that like I can show Turk and Crawler like these screen caps from Battle Royale, and their immediate response is to just like recoil and like hold their heads back and like, whoa, what the hell am I looking at? I think that kind of speaks volumes for what this is. Just because it's popular and regarded as the best manga art does not mean that it is. I think that you're going to be much better suited to look at some of Akira Toriyama's work or something like that if you want like good manga art. But hey, that's just me.
The thing is, I haven't really read a lot of manga. The closest I've really come to being like reading a manga artist is probably Adam Warren.
Okay.
Who has a manga kind of style, but I've never really read any manga. Like I want to, if you could consider Akira.
Oh yeah.
Manga.
Akira's totally a manga.
But I mean, of course, when I'm looking at the Marvel or Epic Comics reprints.
Oh.
Yeah. But again, I haven't even read any, really. I think I have like one issue of that. There was a couple books I got back in the day from I think it was Viz or one of those.
Oh yeah.
Of like the Fist of North Star and that kind of stuff. But then those are more stylized to look just like the cartoon or vice versa. So I'm not really looking at the artists because it's pretty much just like the anime.
Yeah, so it's basically what you've already seen.
Right.
I think there's like I actually really prefer the cartoony manga artists like Osamu Tezuka. He's considered the god of manga, and I mean he's brilliant. I think his work is impeccable. And, of course, I talk about Akira Toriyama a lot. I know you don't like Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z or any of that, but I think he's got a really appealing art style. Myself, that's just me. I think One Punch Man is a lot of fun for art style. But yeah, I don't know. Just every time, if you ever like do a Google search on like best manga art or something like that, then you're gonna see this guy at the top of the list, or amongst the top of the list. It just every time you see people talk about Battle Royale, they're like, "Oh, it's violent and it's gritty and it doesn't pull any punches and it's good to sex and the nudity and the art is just amazing. It's the best manga art." And it's like it's really, really not.
See, that was kind of the same kind of thing that people used to always say about Preacher back in the day.
Yeah,
which I always hated Preacher, and they're like, "Oh man, it's because it's this," and it's like, yeah, but that's the appeal to it, is that it's got, it's profane, it's got a lot of dick and fart jokes to it and that kind of stuff, but that doesn't make it good.
Right.
I understand that's bringing you to like this industry, but just because it has that kind of stuff, that doesn't make it good. And when that's what every issue is about or whatever, again, it doesn't make it good. It just makes it different than what you were expecting, and somehow that like keys into you. But again, it's...
Well, like, I don't know, because I really like Lobo. I love the Lobo books, you know that. Lobo. And it's like, well, Lobo stands on nothing besides being really violent and really profane and really funny.
But he's also a parody, though.
Yeah, it's done in the same light that I see the Friday the 13th films, where it's like, I'm not trying to be good, I'm trying to be funny. I'm trying to present this as a crass, over-the-top parody that's funny.
But Lobo has there's two versions of Lobo. There's the Lobo one-shot Lobo things, Lobo Goes to Hell, Lobo series. You've got Lobo in the regular DC continuity, which is this grounded version, which has the attitude of the satirical version, but it doesn't have all the other stuff. So, when you look at Lobo in like the Legion books, his Superman appearances, those are much different than the Lobo that you see in the other things.
That's very true, yeah.
So it's like, you're seeing it, but then there's also the two different versions depending on what you're reading.
Right, yeah.
You don't always get that with stuff.
Yeah, you really don't. And like, really, I think a character like Lobo, or even Deadpool, it kind of necessitates it. Yeah. Where it's like they have to be able to cut loose and do their own thing, but then if that becomes canonical, then it kind of breaks the universe. Because, like, Deadpool has killed the entire Marvel Universe, like, 3 times now, I think. And it's like, though, that can't really be canonical. Lobo has killed God in one book. I'd never actually read that one, but I know he took out a bounty on God. It's like...
I can't get into Deadpool anymore. To me, he's so overused and overplayed.
He's oversaturated like crazy. He really, really is. It was cool when it was like this edgy alternative thing, where it was like, yeah, this ain't your grandpa's Marvel, but now it's very tired.
When Deadpool got his first real ongoing series with Joe Kelly and Ed McGuinness, that was good. And then when Christopher Priest took it over, those were some good issues. When he had Tom Cruise's face, it was spelled THOMCRUZ, and Tom Cruise, and Loki had tricked him into thinking that he was Loki's son. Right? That's awesome. It was good. But then now this stuff is just, it's kind of it's gotten to that point where not that they don't have to try anymore, but it's like the stories don't have to be as, I guess, not original. They don't have to be as sharp, as far as the humor and stuff goes, and because they know that a lot of the fans don't really need it to be that to enjoy it, and they want the kind of lowbrow humor.
Yeah. That's the thing.
And
it's
not
like
that I expect it to be. Yeah, I'm sorry. Not that I expect it to be like Frasier,
right?
But it doesn't have to be as
Well, they at least need to look like they give a damn. That's a big thing for me. It's like, if your book isn't perfect, that's fine, but at least try to look like you care about what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's really the big message with this, It kind of harkens back to Ron Lim. It's like, he's a really good artist, but you look at something like Sonic and it's like, just at least look like you care, dude. At least look like you give half of a damn about these characters, because how can we as readers be expected to give a damn about the characters if you, the creator, don't? So, yeah, I think that's pretty much all mine. The only other artist I could really just rag on for days, and I already have on the Korova Game Bar, would be Thomas Kincaid.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, he's not really in sequential art per se. I will say he did do backgrounds for the Ralph Bakshi film adaptation of Frazetta's Fire and Ice.
Really?
Yeah, and those, not gonna lie, those backgrounds actually pretty good. They actually look pretty decent. I don't know what the hell happened to him. I don't know, like, why he decided, I'm gonna stop doing good animation background stuff and doing good fantasy art, and just switch over to doing shitty lighthouses. But, it's crazy. It's one of those, like, precipitous drops in talent and ability. But, yeah, I'm not gonna rag on him too much, because I've done it more times than I can count on the Let's Play stuff, so...
Yeah, I you know... Like I said, I said my piece about the people that I like, and it's not that Duncan Rouleau, I think, is a bad artist or even a bad person. I don't even know him as a person, right? It's just that when I looked at his stuff, it just didn't click for me, and I look at him like, I don't get that, you know. And you know, for a mainstream kind of book, I'm just like, it's not keying in, but he did something right, or he's doing something right. So, I you know, it's the eye of the beholder.
Yep, for sure. So yeah, oh hey, cool. Very cool.
Sorry.
No, it's awesome. It's the Pokemon trainer now has an amiibo. You know the Game Grumps have like a complete collection of every amiibo released.
So does Booger.
Oh yeah, that's right. Suck on that one, Aaron and Dan. Yeah, it's their display is really nice. They've got an entire hallway dedicated to it, just lined with custom built shelving.
Oh,
so like each compartment has an amiibo in it. It's all backlit.
So he actually put his up in a display that's meant for, I think, baseballs.
Oh, nice.
And they fit right in there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I like that. But yeah, so we probably stepped on some toes, and you know, I think that what Crawler was saying is like right on the nose at the beginning of this, which is, you know, this is really just kind of our opinion. We're not saying that these guys are objectively bad in most cases. I think in some cases we were saying, yes, this is objectively bad. But, like, most of these guys that we're talking about, it's just saying that, you know, we really don't see it ourselves. And, you know, it really just doesn't resonate with us.
You know, and I'm just not, again, we said we were going to limit this to certain things, whatever. But I just want to touch on something when you said that these people aren't objectively bad. You know, one of the problems that I've always had, and I've always said that, you know, one of my biggest issues with Rob Liefeld isn't that he's a bad artist. It's that he was capable of doing better.
Yeah.
Because he's done better in the past. He's capable of doing it, but for whatever reason he chooses not to.
Yes.
And that's the thing that really gets me, is that he can be better, but it's like, well, I don't need to. And it's like, well, I thought you were an artist, a comic book artist. You know, this is the medium you chose. I mean, if you're not, then that's fine. But you know, it's just, I think back to that 501 commercial, and I'm like, you are the chosen one. You know.
But that's the thing. Is like there were so many eyes on him. He was just the face of comics for so long. Just to my mind, if your fans are supporting you and like you're able to do this for a living, then you kind of owe it to them to do the absolute best work that you can do.
Right. You don't owe me shit, right?
Yeah.
But if you are dependent upon me, you know, to, you know, for your I'll say for your existence in this area, in this arena, right? Mm-hmm. Then yeah, you deserve to give me your best. But that's what you expect out of anybody. Even if I'm just going up to the store to get a fucking burger from the fast food place, I want your best burger every time you make it.
Yeah.
You know? And if I don't get that once or twice, guess what? I'm not going to come here anymore.
Right.
So you don't really owe me as a person anything, but
this is Thomas Kincaid background. Sorry.
No. That's nice.
It's
That's
good.
Nice.
What the hell happened to him? Sorry.
But you do owe me, as a consumer, as a buyer of your product, you deserve to give me. I deserve your best.
Yeah.
You know, and that's all. Because I think that's really what everybody asks of whatever product they buy is your best.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we watched Congo last night, and we trashed Congo last night, right? And sometimes we hear all the time about a movie that is not, that they went into it like, this movie is not going to be good at all, and I know that, and I'm not going to give it my best work. But then sometimes that I'm not expecting the best. I'm going into this expecting this to be on a C level.
Right.
But then I've gone to movies and I've walked out like, I said I didn't really care for Deadpool 2 that much. We talked about that.
Right.
But I think everyone went into that I think I went into that expecting their best. I don't know if I got that. Not necessarily from the actors or from the digital effects artists or anything, but maybe I didn't get that from the studio. Maybe I didn't get that from the writers. It's like I didn't get the best that I was expecting that I thought was due.
Right.
For what you were asking, because you're asking that of people, right? When I'm asking for you to give me your best, and you're asking for me to trust you that you're going to provide your best.
Yeah.
So it's a very symbiotic relationship.
Extremely so. Yeah. Probably more so than most popular entertainment. I mean, there might be something like that with YouTube or something, but I mean, really, there's such a symbiosis to comic art that I don't know. Just to me, I'm not a believer in good enough. I'm a believer in doing the best that you can do, no matter what it is. But when it's something like that, where dude, you were 16 and Marvel went to bat for you and hired you on, and your fans made you a huge skyrocket success. How dare you settle for good enough in that capacity? How dare you look at that page and go, it'll do, when you can do better. It's infuriating. To me, that's not a forgivable thing in art. There may be some situations where that's okay, but not in art. Not in something that's your legacy as a creator on this earth.
And yeah, your talent got you, to a certain place. But I think we've all known that talent can't keep you there without that fan base.
Right.
Because we know there's some people out there that are completely untalented, but their fans keep them way above where they need to be.
Yeah. All right, so we've gone for about 2 hours.
Holy shnikes.
Yeah, we've really gone to town on that, but yeah, no, I mean, folks, if you don't agree with us, or if you think that we were unfair towards any of these artists, feel free to address it. I mean, we may just need to agree to disagree, but I'm always interested in hearing other people's takes on something. Yeah. I would love to see somebody try to defend why Battle Royale is good. But no, honestly, I will be doing a full review of the entire manga run of Battle Royale sometime, and those will actually be in video format, so I'll be able to defend that stance a little bit better. But
as far as what I had to say about Rouleau, I think I handled it when I said, hey, he doesn't really need me to like him or not,
right?
And he it's been successful with what he's done. I mean, he's created something that has has longevity, because I mean, how many iterations of Ben 10 have we had, right? I wish
at least 2, if not 3.
Well, we had the original Ben 10, and then there was the one where they kind of went after he had kind of got into high school.
Oh yeah,
and it was him and Kevin and Gwen.
Yeah, I'd forgotten.
And then we had another Ben 10 before, so yeah,
4.
Yeah, I think, and no. Then we had the 2 live action TV movies. One which was directed by Alex Winter.
I had no idea.
From Bill and Ted.
Holy shit! Yeah, I had no idea.
So yeah, so again, I mean, he's got something that is going to continue to kind of. It's basically almost like the Turtles, where it's it'll run its course, and then next we'll get a little soft reboot there, and it'll kind of come back and do its thing. And I wish that that Generator Rex had lasted longer, because it was a really good show.
Yeah.
And I think they even had a crossover with Ben 10 as well, but for whatever reason, it just didn't go Maybe it's because of toys. A lot of stuff turned out later that the toys didn't sell, so that's why the cartoon was canceled.
Yeah,
But again,
definitely.
he doesn't need me. He's done very well on his own, and people seem to be really like what it is. I just could not get into it, and I still can't.
And for my part, if you folks really feel like Jim Davis has some staying power and feel like the Garfield work that he actually worked on is good, well then I'll happily accept if you would just write out your defense on a piece of paper and fold that piece of paper up and stuff it up your ass.
I knew that's where you were going. I knew it. I was just waiting for it. I was like, that paper's going up somebody's ass. I was like, I knew it.
Yeah, no, seriously, just get better taste, people. Come on. But no, I think that's it. I think we should probably call it a wrap. We're probably gonna have to break this down into a 2-parter anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was a lot of fun. I'm glad we got to talk about that.
And we should have done this early on a couple different times, but we're not used to doing this kind of thing. But this episode of So Our Moms Think We're Funny were brought to you by erasers. Fucking use one sometimes.
Looking at you, Rob. Bye, everybody.
I just get into a meme of Anakin, right? Burning, a Mustafar and a pair of feet, and him going, "I hate you! I hate you!"
Did you hear when I paused? After the
All right there, folks. That was Our Moms Think We're Funny. Let's give them a hand.